knowing when to say, I don't know. The last thing you want to do, clients shouldn't beat you to it. Everyone had their role, and it takes the final product to the next level because you're focusing on what you need to focus on.
Yeah.
When we don't reach the level of our expectations, we fall to the level of our habits. Maybe you don't do your bed when you wake up. Firstly, that's not a good thing because you can't conquer the world if you can't conquer your bedroom.
Yes, sir.
How? Be
Yes, sir.
be the change you want to see. How? What will I better? Bro, me, I don't trust you, though. You go fight for me. Bro, fight for yourself. Don't like that I'm using filler words. That's the introspection. I don't like that I'm like, I want to speak proper. I want to kill the filler words. That's room for you to grow, isn't it? I need a book. You don't read a book and some like
you know.
No, bro, you understand? Yeah. So there's a reference.
Welcome to the Millennials Corner, where most of us are lost in a trance.
VeliPhasha. So he's like, VeliPhasha.
He's trying to keep it one word.
What it do, Bafetu? Welcome to another episode of TMC Podcast. Everything creativity and technology. So if that's what you're into, you are at the right place. But Vandag Bafetu, we are joined by someone who is no stranger to this podcast. Yo, I've waited so long to say someone who's no stranger to the podcast. You're actually the first person who's retaining my podcast day.
Oh yeah, because I was thinking pattern. Zito has done a second, no?
Nah, one.
No, he did. Okay, the first one didn't A.
Oh, Zito? Did we ever record Zito?
It was documentary.
He didn't A, so I'm confusing that.
For me, Youth Day is making sure that you're part of the solution. For me, Youth Day is making sure that you're doing your best to not become the statistic of unemployed.
Well, Team Banku Pilor Gelukope Hore. So please make sure you do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so, because it definitely does help keep the magic at TMC alive. And just to jog your memory on what is it that you're subscribing to, TMC is the brainchild of some super cool millennials by enjoy technology, creativity, and everything else in between, right? So without any further ado, Bafetu, I'm just going to jump straight into our chat VeliPhasha, who is a filmmaker, or who was rather a filmmaker the last time Ribu. I'm not sure if we changed it because Kala move around. King Veja. Kala when I was introduced, Uguti.
People do that. Do people know when we greet each other, we already greeted each other?
Oh,
No?
they know?
Do they know that when we greet each other, we already greeted each other?
I don't know.
We're doing it for camera.
Yeah.
Because it's starting, isn't it? Yeah, so I think the last time we spoke, people can actually find the episode online. Yeah, I did check it out just for all time's sake, you know. Yeah, and at the time we left it as I'm a photographer.
Oh yes.
Yeah, we left it as that, and because it didn't make sense, because I actually thought we were spoken about this part of my journey. But as far as me and TMC are concerned, this is my third engagement. The second one, it went audio. It never came visual. Yeah, for whatever reason, only the editors would know what happened. Right? Yes, the one in Newtown. We were good, bro. You know, things were looking good. Well, not that they're not looking good now. Yeah, but they're looking good then. And yeah, you're right, filmmaker.
Yeah.
At the time, it was always going to lead up to that for me because of the kind of person that I am.
Sure.
The last time we spoke, we did leave it as a photographer, but in the space that I was in when we were able to chat, I was in a space that would have or did equip me to be a videographer.
Yeah, for sure.
Later on a DOP, which is essentially what I decided to go with. That is what decided to call me or pulled me because of the type of person I am, and most importantly, because of my background.
Yeah.
Because we are, and maybe to put it like this, it would make sense. We have an array of factors that contribute to the kind of person that you become in your late ages. Maybe moving from your childhood into teenagehood. By extension, you could say your young adult. And when we speak of ourselves in most cases, it's very hard to cover everything. You can't 360 yourself. You're probably 45 degrees yourself. So that's how the information will come. It'll come in 45 degrees as opposed to 360. So the background conversation that we had was extensive in its own way, but it did not cover this part of my journey. So this part also came to me at some point later. And well, I can't really pinpoint when exactly, but because I enjoy thinking, it's one of the things that I love doing.
There's still some gems that you actually did share. That's why I agree with you, Mauti. Like, it was very extensive, because I think from just watching that episode, you get a sense of who Veja is, where Veja is, where Veja is going, you know, and what Veja really believes about the world, you know. And on this episode, I'm hoping to also learn just to see if your outlook on life has changed, you know, from then. But before we get started, Veja, because I don't need a time, a dog. Before we get started, we have the culture on TMC. So the culture, just to break the ice, so that by the time we get into the things, we are easy. So Msizi prepared a game called... Msizi, what do you call the game?
Pointless question.
Pointless question. Yeah, so I don't know what Msizi is saying about you too.
Yeah. No, don't. It's not that deep. I can't believe I just said that. I hate when people say it's not that deep. It's not that deep. It's not that deep.
So yeah, Msizi gave me 5 pointless questions to ask you. And the first one, Uti, Ukraine was ne?
I'm good, bro.
Yeah, the first
Maybe
one.
Should I sip on some water first?
Sir! The first one, Uti, if you are a wrestling character, who would you be, and what would be your finishing maneuver?
I know who I would be. And I'd probably incorporate another character's finishing move. I would be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yes, I'm going to be Stone Cold.
That would
Yeah,
be...
if you were like a little bit more buff, the cheese cup, you are giving.
Who knows? Maybe that's what I was aspiring
Do you see
for.
the resemblance?
Yeah, there's that. But the finishing move would definitely be The Rock. Or maybe I like the smacking.
Oh, yeah, sure. But that can't finish.
Yeah, I know. Maybe because it's me, I would find a way.
What is that one item that would make you walk out on a date?
Maybe the light version of it would be, it's the shoes. Yeah. There's a specific shoes that I don't like.
I think I know.
It's the shoes and possibly makeup.
You don't fucks with makeup?
I don't like it. Yeah, I think it takes away from what I want to see. Yeah, which is beauty.
Hang out with a cartoon or animation character. Who is it?
I would kick it with Vegeta.
Vegeta
From
Dragon Ball
DBZ,
Z.
yeah.
Why?
Because I would grow. He always pursued growth. He didn't want to, he was competitive, he had a competitive spirit. And every time he knew that he's number 2, he'd always challenge himself. He wouldn't put it on the next person. He wanted to be number 1 so much. So for me, most important, it would just be the growth factor, that he wanted to grow.
You have unlimited supply of anything. What would you choose?
Why do these questions speak to me?
Because we invited you to have a chat with us.
It's like I had a chat with him, and it's not going to be a fun answer that way, but an abundance of wisdom. That's what I would want. This is basically what I also pray for. There's Solomon from the Bible. He went to, he was obviously retirement time, like going to sleep.
Solomon wamandla sayinweleni.
Yeah. And God asked him, what do you want? And he said, give me wisdom. And then he said, because you want wisdom, I'll give you everything else. You can have money, not wisdom. But when you evaluate, wisdom is more important than money. Because when you have wisdom, you can make money, or you can multiply money, or you can multiply whatever positions you have. But wisdom has a lot to do with life.
Not to speak for you, but it seems like one is easy to lose and the other is almost impossible to lose.
I think I can also agree to that. Yeah, because wisdom you have to accumulate. So the process of wisdom, this is no longer a nice break. The process of wisdom would be how I think of it. It has a triangle. It's information. And then from information, it becomes knowledge. And then wisdom is the practice of knowledge. Once you know different and you practice, then you have no choice but to be wise in some instance.
Would you rather travel back in time and meet your ancestors, or into the future and meet your descendants?
Can I go for none?
Yeah, for sure. I
think those things change how you live your life. It would feel like a cheat code. Yeah, because they would probably let me know if I go in the past, they'd probably let me know what to look out for. If I go into the future, I'd probably try to change things in some way. And I usually think about the journey of my own life and what I would change. And there isn't really anything I would change, because to change certain things in my life and in my experience would mean to change the person that I am today. I'm content, I'm happy with who I am, what I've created myself to be, and the things that I've gravitated towards. So I wouldn't do either. I wouldn't go back. I would just be in the moment.
Yeah, besides, like I mentioned earlier, it would kind of like take away from, that element of mystery. I think life is exciting when you live it that way.
Bro,
Yeah.
If you were told that you're going to die in 10 years, I think it will change.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing, that you are changing. I mean, change is good if you are ahead of it, if you are intentional about it.
Sure.
Excuse. It's good in that sense. Over and above that, I don't think, it's almost as if me telling you that if you stay in the house, I'll buy you a PlayStation.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that genuine? Isn't it better for me to just reward you because you've been staying in the house? I think that would be far way productive, fruitful, and it will draw you closer to the truth.
Yeah, I like what you're saying. I think we'll actually unpack on it some more, deeper into the conversation. But yeah, that is the icebreaker, how it comes to the end. The ice is broken.
It didn't feel like that though.
Yeah.
It felt like we're already in.
It felt like we are deep, because
you
you
did
are deep. You are that deep, my dog.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah,
bro.
the ice is broken. Let's put some ice.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah.
But you must look me in the eye. Bro.
Away.
Look me in the eye.
Yeah, King Veja, let's get started, Jayami. The first question that they have prepared for us on TMC, I'm not going to start with that because they like telling me what to say, these people. So I actually haven't had a chat with you in such a long time. I think it's been like 3-4 years. I have a question that I wanted to ask you. And that question is, one thing that I've picked up about you is that everybody who ever gets, that chance to chat with you, they walk away from that encounter feeling like Veja is the most grounded person I've ever met. Well, at least this is from everybody that I have interacted with, super forward thinking, smart in his ways, and his level of integrity. Yeah, but like that's on fact.
I mean, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad that
Pablo last episode, Veja orata togetherness.
Yeah, that's...
No, Veli, our manager.
Shout out
Orata
Veja.
go bua. Veli orata go.
Veja can talk for days.
And orata togetherness. So for guys, are we buing together? So I think we were like in a 4-hour work call.
Ish, bro. We'll jump into that. I think there's also a question around that.
So what is it about you that makes people gravitate so much towards you? Like what's so accommodating about your energy?
I think it has a lot to do with my background, how I grew up. I can't think of any other thing that I can attribute it to, because most importantly, so we've had offline conversations about this. For a long time, I was the firstborn, or the only child. It's like now I'm no longer firstborn. Like, hey, what happened? Did someone? For a long time, I was the only child. For maybe not even the longest, probably for 12 years. Yeah. I was the only child. And in places that I've been, as impoverished as we were, I've always been, for some reason, in a better way. I wasn't as poverty stricken as the next person, and as a consequence, that became something that contributed to the person that I am, because I always had to look out for the person next door. Do you understand? So which is really bad, bro. I would get shoes secondhand, and I would have to third hand them. I would have to pass them on. Does that make sense? But I also got shoes that they're not mine because we can't afford to buy the shoes. But when I am experiencing that journey with the shoes, to a certain degree, I will have to give them to the next person. So you can imagine of the conditions of the shoes. I should have rocked my other old stars so I can show you. Yeah, but that has always been a thing in my life in everywhere where I've went. I was privileged, but not so privileged. So I guess you could say that levels to being poverty stricken in some sense, because you could have maybe when you could use sunlight to brush your teeth, the next person doesn't have sunlight. Does that make sense? But it's still poverty in its own weird, twisted way.
Like your level of lack is not the same as others.
It's not the same.
But also your privilege is not like at a level of others as well. So it's kind of like you are poverty stricken, but others would look at you and think, oh, okay, he's enjoying some privileges.
Yeah, there's that. You have maybe you're eating bread that tastes like soap, which means it's spoiled. The next person doesn't have bread at all. So it's like I said, it's still dressed as the same thing. So I've always had to give by virtue of that. So every time when I have to make room for the next person, or maybe I'm pointing a finger at the next person, I always think of myself and my situation and the things that I've had to make room for. Because essentially what I want, I don't like conflict. I don't like conflict. So I try to be as grounded as possible. I try, which is tough and hard, but I try to see where you are coming from. And that forced me to also build on listening. Just keeping quiet and listening to what the person says. And these are things that, some of these things are things that I didn't have. These are things that I had to cultivate. And I've spent time alone, so I also know how it feels to be alone. I also know how it feels to not have someone in your corner. So if anything, when I think of my life and my purpose, that's really what I want. I want people to, if not me, I want people to have the close people that I have in my life to have me in their corner. I was telling Umsizi earlier on when we had an offline conversation that we are the solutions now to our households back home. We are the solutions. And I say to him, I wouldn't want to be anything else. I would want to be a solution, because if you're not a solution, you're a problem. I don't want to be a problem in any way like that unless it's called for, because I know how to be a problem. I've seen problems.
I find that fascinating because like it seems to me that you're an outcast, right? In a sense that kids who would, predominantly grow up as the only bonds, they don't know how to share because they usually have everything to themselves. And just they get used to being alone, and that's the life that they know, and for you to be able to, even under the circumstances that you were the only born for 12 years and still cultivated all these kind of like qualities, I find that like very, very fascinating. And I think it's something that a lot of people can and should definitely learn from.
I'm sorry to interject. Isn't it the dichotomy of a villain and a superhero? They experience the same set of challenges. One wants to make sure that the world feels their pain. Like, how I'm feeling. So I'll make sure that I bring about terror. And one is like, it's enough. I've felt this pain. I don't want anyone else to feel it.
Low-key Veja telling us that I'm the superhero. I see you.
Hey man, you could have it.
But you choose your part in a story, Joe, in your story particularly, because it's your own. So if you don't choose,
I hope I didn't derail you there.
Nah, definitely not. Because the next question is actually where we want to unpack your upbringing and how that might have kind of like shaped your outlook to life in general.
I think that the question is in two folds. I believe I've answered to the philosophical element of it. Maybe the other end to it would be including the career side of things. Right. And the career side of things would be how I ended up being where I am, even when I didn't understand that I was going there at any point. Even when I started my photography journey, I didn't understand that is where I was going. when I started my videography journey, I also didn't understand that is where I was going. But if your own experiences, if your subconscious has anything to say about your upbringing, your subconscious can attest that you're always going to be the person that you are because of the places that you've visited, the places that you've interacted, and the people that you've had the privilege to share a moment with.
Are you saying that is an obvious case, or?
It's not obvious to you, it's obvious to your subconscious. Because your subconscious has everything, isn't it? It's the conscious that we could say brings things forward, because it makes you aware of a thing. That's why it's conscious. Your sub is basically everything that you're not aware of. But if the answers you are seeking, the answers you're probably going to find in your subconscious, because your brain is divided in that way. So when I say your subconscious can attest to that, is maybe to relay the story would unpack it a little bit better. About 150 to 250 meters away from my house, there was this other timer that was very fond of me. His wife was my mom's friend, and he had a video home system, VHS, and VCR, video cassette recorder. Yeah, so you have your VHS, which is to watch, and then you have your VHS/VCR, which it would allow you to record what you're watching on TV. Your DVDs are the most advanced form of what a VHS was. And whenever he had movies, whenever he had a new film for us to watch, because we used to hire movies back then, or hire cassettes. There would be a store that would allow for us to do that. Now we have the Netflixes, the Primes, but it's pretty much the same concept, you know. Speak of the more things change, the more they remain the same, you know, because it's essentially the same thing. He would call me, or he would tell my mom to invite me, and we would binge. And that is something that I also grew fond of, or something that I took a liking into. And it went on as far as varsity times, where I was curious about this and I enjoyed it. But like I said, some things you do not know why they are the way that they are. It's only when you become that thing at a later stage, and upon that you probably reflect to see, actually, what's going on? Why am I this person that I am? You know, so that largely contributed to the person that I am, because that part never left me. Even when I started photography, I'll still be the same person that binges. But away from just binging and watching, obviously, for the story, I would always have an inquisitive mind as to how did that happen? Why is the camera angle like this? Why are the lights like this? Why is the mood like this? You know, and I didn't understand why. Little did I know that the seed was planted for me to essentially walk this path that I'm walking right now.
Were you conscious of your curiosity for those things?
No.
Or it was planted in your subconscious?
That's what I'm trying to say to you, that if your subconscious can bear testament, it would say you are always going to be this person. It would be that. Some moments do have a glimpse of a revelation, but you are never so confident about that being a thing for you. You just wait for other moments to reveal themselves to you, and maybe retrospectively. I usually think of this, and people around me would know. I say we live life in moments, but it makes sense retrospectively. Because all you have is now. You don't have tomorrow. You don't have yesterday. You can reminisce about yesterday. You can plan for tomorrow. But the fact that you are not there is a hindrance of sorts. And as it allows you, if anything, it should communicate to you that you should embrace the moment, because you don't know what lesson you're missing out on. You don't know what moment you are missing out on. For me, being here is God's gift, because of the gift of life. I'm here to share a moment with you guys. Yes, it's being documented, but even away from this, maybe this might be the least favorite thing out of today for me, because I've come and I've engaged with you. If anything, maybe the favorite thing about this, or what makes me feel good about it, is the fact that we are talking and we are engaging each other intellectually.
And most importantly, you are here because we invited you, Phasha.
Okay, my bad. Oh, I invited myself. Are you VeliPhasha?
The way we bega ngakhona, King, it makes me wonder what you think the purpose of life is, right? And what would have been that one moment where you kind of like felt like you were so aligned that you're living your purpose?
There's two ways I can answer that. is the subjectively, life has no meaning. Subjectively, everything that we are doing is pointless. Because you would question why we are experiencing the things that we are experiencing. Why are people malevolent? Why are people so bad that it doesn't bother them to a certain degree that they are inflicting pain onto others? You have deaths that you could regard as meaningless. And usually the meaningless of life has a lot to do with where you are posited in experiences. Maybe on the receiving end of a death, someone passed away. Maybe like myself, at some point you're on the receiving end of watching a show where you question where God is. I watched this YouTube episode the other time, and this person, which was crazy, he was married. In my head, this is good. He's married, he has a kid. They take the kid to the grandparents, and it's New Year's Eve, which is obviously Monday, and they got paid, and they want to enjoy each other's company. And they sing that outside, and then 4 men pull up, and then they invade, get them inside the house, ask whatever belongings they wanted. While he's begging for his life, they just shoot him, right? Shoot him in the head, he falls down. And then after a couple of minutes, he wakes up. And when he wakes up, he's still in the house. And when he looks to his right, his wife is dead, right? And when I get that, for me, that sent me into a very dark place where I'd question, where is God? What is the meaning of this whole thing? Why are we here? I would think, okay, God, these people are married. These people have a child. They were not irresponsible. They took the child to their grandparents. They want to enjoy each other's company. And in my head, I'm thinking marriage is something that worships you as God. It says you are there. So why didn't you intervene? Make sure that that does not happen, you know? So when you look at life in that way and things that are happening, you will wallow in melancholy, bro. And there isn't anything that you'll do. But fortunately, because subjectively there's no meaning, it calls for you to create meaning, right? It calls for you to create meaning for yourself. What are you going to create or base your life on? Are you going to base it on your kids? Kids give my life meaning. Are you going to base it on your friends? Are you going to base it on what you are pursuing, the pursuit of excellence? Because that ends up giving your life meaning in some sense.
Yeah.
So what isn't there gives opportunity for you to create. The second way would be,
I think what you're saying actually makes me want to think of life as the pursuit of meaning.
I think that's very much possible. Yeah, that is the subjective way.
For sure, definitely. Because everybody can choose what they want to define life as, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. The second way would be found in John 14, verse 6, where Jesus Christ says, I am the way, the life, and the truth. And no one goes or gets to my Father except through me. That gives you an indication of why we are here. Mina, when I go through the experience of reading the Bible and why I am the type of person that I am, which I always seek for answers. That's the one thing that I want for myself, is to seek for answers. And even though I'm on that journey, I know that I won't find all the answers because, one, I don't have all the time in the world to do that. Two, to know something is to know that you know nothing at all. So no matter how much I consume, I absorb, I still don't know anything, right? But this gives my life meaning in the sense that I've started understanding that my purpose is to be here so God could use me and make sure that He shows His glory through me. So what do I mean by that? When you are blessed, people look at you. So when you are blessed materialistically, people look to you. They look up to you in some sense. That's why I look shiny when there's a person that is well off. Sithi ngamla yami, ngamla ngicela ukwashela imoto, ngamla wena wenze kanjani, those kinds of things. So in an instance like that, God wants to show Himself to people, that especially when you are saved, you could always go and say, it's all God, because none of it belongs to us. The fact that your life also doesn't belong to you, you are borrowed. You've just borrowed time, basically, because you don't know when you're going to die. You don't know how you're going to die. unless of course you commit suicide. Maybe that's the best thing you know, how you're going to die. But everything over and above that is everything that you cannot control. So you really you are experiencing God's grace that you are here. You are experiencing God's grace that you are waking up in the morning and seeing a new day. Hence, glory comes in the morning, right? So religiously so, or objectively from where I'm sitting, and that is what gives my life more meaning, is to make sure that I'm available for God to use me, is to make sure that I try by all means to walk with him, because I've found myself in instances where when I reflect and I think about it, I could tell, bro, that yes, I'm nice. Yes, I'm the person that I am. But really, are you that nice? You know, there has to be a source where you are pulling from all these things. In situations where no one is showing up for you. And that's the thing about God. God likes showing off. He'll come at the 11th hour when you're like, you know what? You know, he pulls up. That's if he doesn't, it's not going to show his glory. If you think of Moses' story when he had to cross the Red Sea, God didn't tell Moses that you will cross the Red Sea. He just said, go there. And when you got there, there was no plan. It's like, yo, these people are coming, right? These people are coming, then what? And then he said, use your staff or your rod, and the seas parted, and they were able to have way and escape their enemies. So I would like to think of God in that way. Whenever I think of him, the situations that I found myself in, it's like, yo, dog, I know you're going to pull up. This is me talking to God. But does it really have to be the 11th hour? Because I go through the most anxious episodes of whatever I'm pursuing or whatever I'm waiting to have.
You're speaking of making way. I'm just going to take that figuratively and bring it back to the fact that you moved away from Jozi.
Is that a segue? You're nice, bro.
Nah. Yeah, you moved away from it.
No, you can't. Segue. That's dope, dog. That was a nice segue. Speaking of ways. Okay. I enjoyed that, bro.
Easy. I mean, like, that's the point of what we're doing. I
agree. Just to keep punching on excellence.
Yes, sir. So yeah, you decided to leave Jozi. And I think this is the city where you kind of like achieved quite a lot of stuff for yourself. You were doing pretty well, at least from where I was looking. And just for you to make that decision to move to Cape Town, what inspires that decision now? And did that moving have any kind of like impact on your career as a filmmaker?
Could start off from the last question. Impact, definitely. Yeah. That is as mundane of an answer you're going to get. Definitely, yes. And then to pull back a little bit, we are grounded by relationships. We are grounded by interactions. And there comes a time where a vision changes. I was walking with you. Yeah. And this was the vision. And for whatever reason, things don't turn out the way maybe we would have loved for them to turn out. And it's excruciating at the time. Yeah. But by and large, it's one of those things that could be a catalyst for changes in your life. And for me, it was basically personal and career driven. I've been to Cape Town twice on leisure, a few times on business. And every time I was there, I enjoyed my stay. It's beautiful, the landscape, the coastland, the atmosphere is moist. And because of the person that I am, these are the things that I could say I was always going to do. Sure. Because of how I look at life. So when the one thing doesn't work out, it allows you to focus, to think of really where do you want to take this. So at the back end of relationships, there was always a thinking that was taking place where I was already thinking about my career where I want to take it, because I genuinely love growth. It makes me feel like I'm doing something here on earth with my life. And growth to me at the time when I was thinking was, my journey is for me to focus on knowing about lighting, because I am a DP, a director of photography, also known as a cinematographer. But a lot of the times, a lot of the
Also
work that
known
I've
as
done,
cameraman.
no, definitely not. Definitely not. Don't do that now. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to do this. Because you're talking out of pocket now. So let's not do that. Let's not fight, you know. I'm not a fighter, I'm a lover. So please don't do that. But I had one end figured out, which is the shooting. A lot of the jobs that I would keep getting were jobs that had a lot to do with me shooting in daylight.
Yeah.
And it left my knowledge and education a bit shaky, because I wasn't forced to work with lighting. And I couldn't create time to actually, not even couldn't, I could, but the money element of it became a hindrance, in the sense that in order for me to grow my lighting technique and education, I have to hire equipment. And unfortunately, I'm not there yet where I could hire out whatever I want. Yeah. So the best thing was to find a nest, something that would facilitate for that growth. Yeah. But while I focus solely on it, that one, I've been shooting all these weddings, I've been shooting this, and the third. I would like to tunnel vision. I would like to focus. I would like to tell stories. Yes, I can tell stories in this way, but I would really like the film side of it. And everything else fell away, because there was no reason for me to stay here anymore, because it wasn't what it used to be for me. And most importantly, it was the whole thing of, I know what I get from Cape Town. I know what I want out of my life. I just want quiet, peace. And Joburg at some point, it wasn't doing that. It was too busy for me. And naturally, Cape Town was the thing, because even when I was still employed, when I was still answering to Ngamla, I would look for opportunities in Cape Town or overseas. So I would never always thought, okay, I'm in Joburg. Then what's next? I can't go to Bloem. I can't go to Pretoria. I've been to Pretoria. If anything, that's where I got most of, or my education journey started. So Cape Town has a ring for me. Yeah. It's the closest thing to an international feeling I could get.
Did it come out to be what you expected?
Yeah, I'm open-minded. So as far as expectations are concerned, I'm not so rigid about that.
Sure. Because I'm asking this question because I'm thinking, Uguti, okay, cool. There was a phase where you enjoyed being in Jozi, and then everything was working fine for you until where your love for Joburg was exhausted. Like you just didn't want to be in Joburg anymore. You just young Tola. So now you're in Cape Town. Excited about it because the only time you've visited Cape Town was either on leisure or Ispani, so it wasn't like long stays. So you were still in honeymoon phase. Even when you move, Gada, sure, you're in honeymoon phase until a specific time where you feel like, okay, now this is becoming familiar. Would you say you've reached that stage with Cape Town? And are you enjoying the familiarity if you have?
I don't experience some of the things, and maybe this is credit to how I am, because I spend so much time alone. Yeah. I know what I want. If I don't know it as in something I've pictured, as soon as I experience it, it connects that this is what you wanted. Hence my habit of reading, because sometimes I don't know how to articulate the things that I want. Yeah. So I find these expressions from these great writers that for some reason they just play boxing with words and things flow. And it's like, this is how I feel, but I didn't have the words, So I have that inside me. I know the things that I want, even with the girls that I would end up entertaining. I know from jump, maybe this version of me. And leading up to, before answering that, the one thing that I've always had is, and which is an expression I heard earlier on in my life, is wherever you go, there you are. So I've always thought there isn't anything that could overcome me because I am me. And wherever I go, I'll always have me. So I didn't experience the honeymoon phase. What was sad to see was there's also this notion that Black people know their place in Cape Town. I'm not the Black person that knows his place in Cape Town. Sure. I think Black people who know their place in Cape Town are people that are illiterate. I'm not illiterate. I know how to express myself. I know what is right for me. Yeah. I know how to speak out. I know how to call out things. I know how to confront. So those are things that I'm not struggling with. So because of the kind of person I am, I walk in a room and I make it an objective for me to not step on people's toes. So when there's something happening, I know how to address it because I know deep down in my heart, I'm not malevolent. That's not what I am here to do. So the sad thing for me was to get there and see how illiterate some of us are. And that was sad because, bro, if we're in this room, if you're here in this room, you are here. Sure. There's no need for you to not be proud about it. You made it here. You deserve to be here. Yeah. So you'd have people that would make it here, but they don't feel like they should be here. It feels off. You know, you are in isolation in a space where people are interacting, at least in that space. Those were things that I came to see. And it was bizarre for me because, one, I don't feel uncomfortable. I don't feel uncomfortable around white people. Yeah. I talk to white people. I don't talk when I don't have anything to say. When I'm quiet, I don't have anything to say. You talk to me, I'll talk to you. Yeah. But it's not they speak to me, I don't know what to say. No, bro. That's not me. That's not my script. I know how to read my script. I know how to say things. So another example was so it's obviously predominantly white. Yeah. Or maybe where I stay, I get to Virgin Active. Virgin Active is a health club that houses white people. Yeah. I go upstairs, I'm the only Black person. I look around and I ask myself, do you feel off? I'm like, no, I deserve to be here. I'm here. If anything, I would like for them, asingeni in bafit. Sesikhona no yang thola asibaboniseni ukuthi siyafika. And they feel that because the people that I've been able to create an acquaintance with are people that are similar in mindset with my thinking. Yeah. They get there. If anything, I'm also even blown away. It's like, ntwana uyivale kancane, phela so vulela kakhulu no. But at the back end of it, I'm rooting. You know, we're not here to be peasants. We're not here to be quote unquote slaves. Yeah, for sure. We are here to say we are here. We also know what to do. We are qualified. Yeah. We've earned our stripes. We know what this is. Some people will want to make you feel less because of what they don't know. Not what they don't know, what they want to show you that they know. Yeah. And they'll call a cup a mug. And like, what is a mug? And then for some reason that shows, I don't know, your incapability of sorts. Yeah. I'm not there. If I don't know what a mug is, I don't know what a mug is, bro. I cannot know everything.
Yeah. That's not good. And it's okay. And it's okay. And the beautiful thing about it is that is an opportunity to learn.
To learn. Right? Yeah. Perfect, dog. So that for me was the hard thing to come to terms with, and how people, I remember calling this guy. It's like, yo, we are here, bro. I see how you're feeling. You know, Kobisikanda, there's food, but you're not me, bro. You know, I'm a food, okay. That's me. I lead the line. You understand? If there's drinks, if I feel like I want to take more than one juice, sure, I'll do that. You look at me weirdly, bro, you didn't pay for this. Yeah. This is client money. Why you are hired just like me. So why are you making this your problem? So sometimes you have to have interactions like that. And they feel away and it's okay. I was on a job. There's 4 of us. 1, 2, 3, 4. This guy decides to give, maybe there was 5. There's 2 Black people, 3 white people. Yeah. He's a white person. He decides to give white people iced coffee. Well, one, don't like iced coffee, something that I wasn't going to drink in anyway. I was going to say no. But he makes sure that he gives the 3. And the person that I'm working with is like, hey, Tina, as he told you, ice coffee. I'm like, yo, dog, Pumada, the problem is not you. The problem is him, how he's perceiving this whole thing. Because now it takes him an extra amount of work to not give us. Because now he has to think about like, I'm going to have 3, whatever, and I'm not going to give this guy. Sure. Me, I'm chilling. And at the back end of that, I'm thinking, yo, if you really wanted something to drink, are you not able to go get it for yourself? For sure. I'm thinking, I know how to. So I shouldn't be bothered. You know? So it's some of the things that I've come to see. But those things don't deter me. I know myself. When you don't know yourself, when you don't know your worth, when you don't know where you've been, when you don't know how you've grown, it's hard for you to be affirmative, to be like, yo, I am here.
You are somebody who likes to feel in control, right? And I think I remember from the last episode you said, Uguti, when I'm not in control,
I do not want to feel like I'm not in control of my life. I don't want that feeling. I don't like that, bro.
So as somebody who likes to be so much in control, you get to Cape Town.
You're using heavy adjectives so much. Oh, that's a huge adjective.
Okay, as some Aski is better. I'm going to take it back. As
so
somebody
much,
who likes being in control. Because we are it means so much.
Okay. I can concede to that.
For sure.
I can concede to that.
You get to Cape Town and you make a decision. You're going to, I'm going to get an agent who's going to actually take charge of, a part of my work. Yeah, which means now you are no longer in full control of how you work or who you work with. Yeah, so why do you make that decision?
It's getting to a place and understanding the lay of the land. You don't go to Alex and not know who the gangsters are there. You don't get to Alex and not know who runs Alex. You have to do your due diligence. So more than it being a thing of choice, it's a thing of this is how it works this side. And you're going to have to walk this way. But when you do your due diligence, you speak to the people that are on the ground. When I had opted to bounce, I bought my ticket months before, and I started making phone calls to understand what I'm going to do where. And there was this one person, may God bless his soul. He was so open, bro. He helped facilitate my imprint, or me knowing Cape Town and Cape Town knowing me.
You want to mention them? You want to mention them?
Yeah.
Name drop, yeah, for sure.
Okay, Tsepo Rancho.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a wonderful soul, bro. And he's one of those people that are benevolent. They don't, your win is not a loss to him. Mm-hmm. He wants to share. He takes you on everything. And because I've done this before, it was, simply put, because I've been in Joburg, I've done what I did in Joburg. So I came to Joburg, I wasn't established, I had to establish myself. So that gave me the confidence that I can get there and establish myself, because at the end of the day, it's always me versus me. It's never me versus the next person. It's me that I need information from, that could push and be like, this is the evidence you need. So I knew that my journey has a lot to do with recommendation. People funnel me opportunities, not I go out there like that and I search online, which I did, to be fair, here in Joburg, when I was like, this is what I want to do now. I want to exist solely in the film space. Yeah. I reached out to the people, right? And it became what it became. Nothing fruitful came from that. And more than anything else was, it felt like God wanted me to go to Cape Town, because leading up to that, the things that I was experiencing, I bumped into a 7-minute sermon on YouTube. And that I would play that every day when I warm up to work out. Yeah. And it was God basically telling Abraham to go to your father's, leave your father's land. Go to a land that I will show you, and I'll bless you, and I'll make sure that you're taken care of. I'll protect you. So when I kept listening to that, it felt like, because I was hella anxious. I was
I can
scared.
imagine, for sure. I mean, you're leaving family.
You understand, bro.
You know, into like this foreign place, whether
say
you're gonna
no.
get the Spani.
You understand?
Yeah.
But I have this person that for some reason wants to show up in the 11th hour for me. And this person is talking to me like, just go. I did, bro. I didn't even it's not like you're going there, there's a job. It's really just going there and you don't know. But because you are always trusting, because you look at your life like, I've been in here in Joburg and things have been working out. At some point it was bad, but before leaving, I was really on some nice roll of making money, pushing work. Yeah. Going there, I had a little bit of money. It helped facilitate the move as well, and had pushed me for a couple of months. One of the things that I was really afraid of was I'm going to stop working out because I don't have money. That was the one thing that I was concerned about.
You're gonna stop?
Working out.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't have money. I landed on the 19th, had my membership the following week at Virgin Active, a place that I never thought I would work out at. You know, now I get here like, I'm here. This is the standard now, you know what I mean? And it just speaks, because I used to gym at Gym Company, 100 rand.
every time in Tony Smoothie, you know, if we have for today, not guys with you shy picture, I have activity, the gym company, about smoothie.
Bro, you see those things, dog. Those are the things that make sense. But yeah, man, you know, I have airtime. We can move on. But it was really just that. It felt right. There was a pull factor to it.
Sure.
Despite the feelings that I had, the feelings that I harbored, staying up at night, praying about it, like, yo, I'm making this big move. You better carry me, you know. But even the support from home, it's like, yo, if it doesn't work out for you, you know you have a home, right? Sure. I've always liked to keep that as an option, but it's an option that I never wanted to entertain. Yeah. So I know that I can always go back home, but I'm going to fight tooth and nail to make it work.
While we're still talking about Cape Town and Jozi, you know, like we've had a lot of people who've been to both cities and, you know, they've shared their own perspective around the differences in culture.
Yes.
Right. So for you, like shifting from Jozi, like culturally, what would you say like are the notable, differences?
I already spoken about maybe softly how Joburg is. Joburg is fast paced.
Sure.
Sorry to say this. Joburg is dirty. The atmosphere is dirty.
No lies.
I was making my way here and I could smell the feces, right? And I don't have that experience where I'm at in Cape Town. It's dry, you know. And in Cape Town, it's the complete opposite. Before even talking about it, Joburg is on your marks, set, go, and you run, or set, go. Whereas Cape Town is on your marks, get set, ready, fire, go. So it's slow paced, and you can become what you want to become in Joburg, but you can take your time. Because Joburg is, vuka maulele, inyama ipheli. So meaning if inyama ipheli, people are cooking at night. So ingapheli. In Cape Town, you have to cook your meat. Inyama iyaphela. You know, in that way, playing on that metaphor, I guess. You have to make it in that way where you have to facilitate where things are slow, right? And I've already spoken about the type of person I am. I was always going to end up in a place like that. I understand why people come from Cape Town, Durban, wherever, when they come to Joburg and Joburg swallows them. So I have the advantage because I was born and bred in Joburg. It's like, you could make it anyway. If you can make it in Joburg.
Yeah, sure. I actually wanted to ask that, Uti, is that a thing that if you couldn't necessarily, I'm like, if you can make it in Joburg, you can make it anywhere. And leaving Joburg when you still felt like you wanted to grow some more in your career, I think it kind of like somehow constitute as not really having reached your potential while you were still in Joburg. And does that guarantee you that you will win with, how Cape Town structurally is?
So like I said, I've always had me, so I'm going to win anyway. Yeah. It doesn't matter where I am. Maybe it's a thing of taste. I don't like this taste. So I've been to Cape Town. The atmosphere is wet. When you breathe in, it feels like you are deprived of breath. You are gasping for breath. You had an asthma attack. Joburg is like that, having an asthma attack, bro, gasping for breath. When you get to Cape Town, it's like, it's so much, bro, that you want to take it in.
like I'm afraid to. So why do other people believe me?
That's funny. Yeah, so it's that. One of the things that were noticeable for me, I got there, I spoke my Zulu, my Joburg language. People don't understand what I'm saying. Everywhere I go, and I had to switch up to English every time I say hi, because Sanbona, it's either I'm talking to a Xhosa, maybe they would get it, but they're not really open to talk to me in that way. Or a foreign national, where obviously now it's like, what are you saying? You know, we have people coming from everywhere, all parts of the world in Cape Town. So it went to that where everything now I say it or start conversations in English. And the other day I was speaking English, and then later I spoke Zulu, and this person's like, why do you have to speak English with me? It's like, yo, I'm damned when I do this, I'm damned when I do that. But I explained to him that my experience so far has been that I have to speak English. Yeah. And the other thing is, when you're in Joburg, your guard is always up. In Cape Town, they allow pedestrians to walk on the pedestrian cross.
Yeah, for sure.
They relax, they wait for you. Yeah. Cars are on, if the speed limit is 60, people are riding on 30. Yeah. It's cruising, you know, so there's also that. But when I landed, I would see people having their phones in their hands, and it was almost like I should scream, like, hey, bazoitata, like, put it away, you know. But I realized that's what Joburg does. Joburg has you have your guard up all the time. And I understand why people come from outside, come here, and they get robbed first day, you know, when they land, because they don't know that, bro, you are someone's meal for later. That's how crazy it is. So much that this other time I was walking with this girl, it was around 11, 12, maybe 2:12. And then I had two guys walk my way, and this girl was walking. So if this is the walkway, this is the road. Yeah. I walk this side, she's walking inward, and these guys are coming, you know. And I pulled her hand, and I took her to my right, and I pushed her to cross in case this becomes a thing. Yeah. And they could sense that I'm ready for anything to pop. I don't know if the intention was to do anything, but they ended up saying, yo, brother, relax. Relax, there's nothing we're going to do. Yeah. And I tried to brush it off like, nah, bro, that's not what I was doing. Yeah, I wasn't preparing for you. Yes. But I'm already on that tip, you know. I had to dial down a bit because when someone is walking behind me, you know, like, yo, I wait, pass, and then you realize, it's nothing, though. You know, so maybe those are some of the differences. Yeah.
Even road rage. I think the road rage in Cape Town is controlled. Like, bargaining motorists are calm, you know, and I just also enjoy how taxi drivers are calm.
Even the hoods, though.
Exactly my point.
Joburg, though, you go crazy. Everything is beep. Like, yo, dog, I can't even sleep, bro. Yeah, I'd wake up earlier than I should because of Joburg.
Yeah,
you know, taxis.
Yeah,
you feel it.
I remember during our time at Umuzi, King, you were actually a facilitator. That's what they called you guys, ne?
Yeah, well,
manager slash.
Yeah, I think facilitators works better.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be a manager.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be titled as that. I wouldn't want to be titled.
Yeah, so you probably have during that time learned a lot about how people learn, you know, and the kind of mistakes that they would probably make, you know, during, you know, the period of learning, right? So for people who, or maybe for upcoming filmmakers, what would you say have been the notable mistakes that they commonly do?
There are two things that I could think of. Hey, I'm out here with the two. Is one, and we spoke about it earlier, offline, obviously. It was knowing when to say, I don't know. You lose nothing by saying you don't know. At least maybe that's my perspective of it. Yeah. You lose nothing by saying you don't know. I've seen people fumble things in front of me because they thought they knew, or they don't want to say they don't know. Maybe they're thinking they'll lose this, that, and the third. But when you actually really inspect that, what benefit does it do when you don't say you don't know, and then at the end of the day, you are shown to not know. Now, worst case scenario, you've damaged some of the things. You know, I'm talking about the career, isn't it? Yeah, because we work with tools, we work with expensive equipment, we work with delicate equipment. So when you think you know, when you try to do what you think you know, and it becomes a humbling experience, you cost the companies or people money. It saves you a lot of time, saves whoever is there for you and yourself a lot of time to say, you know what, I don't know. And leave it at that. Don't justify, I don't know. It's up to them if they want to educate you. But most importantly is the professionalism, the communication. Professionalism is, we said the call time is 11. Professionalism is, you see that you're not going to make it. You don't wait for 5 to 11 to say, bro, I'm running late. No. You anticipate, dog. You have to, that's why I'm talking about being present. Because you're seeing you're in traffic, you're stuck in traffic. 15 minutes left. So at which point in your brain does it say, hey, you can make it in 15 minutes? Does that make sense? You won't make it in 15 minutes. So it's best for you to communicate. I'm not saying you should communicate 15 minutes later, but 15 minutes before. But it just speaks to what I'm talking about, the lack of professionalism. I've had to, fortunately enough, which is a career W for me, I've had to, my commercial first gig, lighting gig, which happened in Cape Town, I had to hire a team. I've always been hired. Well, I'm obviously hired to hire a team, but I'm the team that they hire. Does that make sense? But this time around, I was the person to put together the team, which is a big step in the journey, in the career itself. And I hire these boys, this one specifically, and bro, that was bad. The last thing you want to do, it does not matter what client comes. You don't want to come there after the client. Client shouldn't beat you to it. That's not a good look. And that was a thing on the day. That's what happened on the day, that everyone was here. You're a trainee. You're the last person to come here. What does that say about me? I was riled up, but because I understand that we're here on a job, it's about me, but not really about me. You know? I managed without him to a point where I was thinking, okay, really, why did I need you? You understand? And I don't want to think in that space because I'm thinking we are growing. I didn't have to hire him. Do you understand? I had a person that was an integral part of the creative journey or the creative conception, more specifically. And you, for me, you come as a trainee, meaning you are a production assistant. You have to up and down, all of that. At the end of the day, yes, definitely you contributed. But it's not one of those things that without you couldn't do. So I was thinking along those lines that it would be dope to have an extra set of hands. And besides, I have the budget for it. So let us share this money. You know, so it's things like that. Professionalism, not knowing how to say no. Just say you don't know, bro. Go learn later. If they don't teach you, go learn, come back. You know, because, hey, bro, this whole journey. Now, I'm in a space where I'm learning about this equipment that I'll be using. We are supposed to be there. They arranged for a workshop for us to go to this gear house. There's 3 or 4 of us. Bro, I can tell you by the end of the day, I was the last person standing. Everyone left around 1, 2. I left when they knocked off.
Sure.
And I think that's...
And in essence, these people actually should be reporting to you.
No, that's a different situation now. We are reporting to whoever we are reporting. But we are all here training or a workshop, isn't it? Yeah. And I'm the last person to leave because I understand what it takes to do this. I understand that you don't want to be shown in a light that won't benefit your career. Because you are doing this because you want to benefit, isn't it? Yeah. So you want to make sure that you tick the boxes, you impress the right people if you have to impress. It's not kissing ass. It's understanding that it's a game. You have to play the game.
Ah, man.
Isn't
yeah,
it?
right. Yeah. I think the guy who actually explains how this is a game better, Robert Greene.
I know
Robert Greene on
48 laws.
Yeah. He wrote 48 Laws of Power, but he talks about this being a play actually on this book. The power of seduction Ah, man. Power. I want to understand what character you play in a film. Yeah, Joe, like, you don't need to be yourself in a production space. I'm like in a professional space. It's not necessary. Like, I hear a lot of people complain, nah, but there I don't feel like I'm being my, most authentic self. Like, I feel like I'm limited. I mean, like, what the fuck are you saying,
authenticity.
You've been given a role.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they give you a role and they give it a title. For you is to go read up on what is expected of you in that particular role. Young Don, exactly. That is your script.
Yes.
Every day when you leave the office, go back and check Uguti. Did I actually play my part?
I couldn't have said it
better.
Couldn't have said it better. Yeah. So it's that. For a large part. Those are the two things that I could think of.
Yeah, and it's such a beautiful thing that when opportunities arise, you are always open-minded to sharing with other people. Young Tola, Nati was plugged at some point.
I was about to say that. I was also plugged.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense for me not to plug.
Young Tola, your win is not the next. I mean, like, somebody else's win is not your loss.
No.
Yeah.
There's plenty to go by.
Sure.
Plenty of fish in the sea.
So for
sure,
sure,
use that in a different context.
Away. There's many fish in the sea. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Look for yours.
Community definitely is a thing. When you talk about sharing and team building and all that stuff. So do you think creating like a supportive, creative community is essential? And if it is for you, has it played like any part in your career as a filmmaker?
It's not just for me. And this will make sense now. People need people. The most evident way to look at it is kids. Children grow up, and in the journey, it is facilitated by the people that are around them. And those people are tasked with making sure that this person grows up so much that they could, I guess, fend for themselves. Yeah. And even then, you don't stop needing people. You don't stop needing friends. You don't stop needing someone that will help you advance your career. Equally so, it's important in the creative space because, or maybe my space, let me not generalize it. Well, I've already done that. But it's a relationship-driven career. People want to work with people that they enjoy their company. I know we spoke about you can't be your authentic self. If you get the duties and responsibilities right, you could leave a touch of yourself. You could be the funny person if you are funny. You could be the person that makes everyone feel like you are the life of the party, or they feel positive when you are there. People want to work with people that are not hard to work with. People want to work with people that at best are able to collaborate, because we're not here for you, we are here for us. If not for us, we are here for the final product. For sure. This is why we are here. We're here for the client. And that's one thing that we shouldn't forget. Yeah. You need a team because you can only do so much. A good moment to depict that is when I first shot a Tando Milani's music video.
Yes, sir. We did that in GP's Town, Rude Boy.
GP's Town.
Yeah. I still have that clip.
That is important to me as a W, because it was the first time where I felt like I was there for one role and one role only. Other times you do this in other roles. So just to flesh the team, there was a director, there was a gaffer, I had a focus puller, and there was me. Do you understand? Yeah. Usually you focus pull on your own. Usually you light on your own if you have the privilege of lighting. Sure. But in this instance, everyone had their role, and it takes the final product to the next level because you are focusing on what you need to focus on. Yeah. It doesn't take your attention away from what you are supposed to be focused on, or because one type of expression. So some things you cut corners because you have to get things there. But when you have people that have to focus on this, that, and a third, you can really zone in, and I think it could level your creativity, or it could push up what you have to offer. Because guys, I know nothing about light. This is not my duty today. All I want is, let's get me a top-down light. Make it soft. Throw in a soft box in there. You know how to do. You can say that, and then you could just sit down and think. Once you've said that, you could think of, okay, I know I'm going to shoot it this way. What other ways can I implement? You understand? Because now they're setting up the light, but you can't think of that when now you have to go set up the light. You have to do this, that, and a third. So it's one of those things that I believe.
I think it diminishes the creativity at some point, you know, because now you have to, instead of thinking of the best way to get the work done, you're thinking of a way to get more done. It's no longer about like quality, but it's for survival, for sure. I remember during that time when we were shooting that music video, you said, Uguti, if you were ever to work on a series, you wouldn't want to DOP the entire season. So you would, So do you still feel the same way, Fanda?
Exactly. It's again the working collectively. Sure. Because to get more people in is to get more expressions of creativity, as opposed to leave it all to myself. And some of the best works that I've seen have more than one person on the job of the same role. That benefits everyone. Maybe it might be a thing of there's no budget for it. But if there is budget for it, bro, if you get your rate, if you get what is due to you, don't care about all the other things. If your rate is 10 Rand and they say, here's $50, what can you get out of that $50? Maybe at best you could say, okay, let me get 15 Rand out of the 50. Excuse me, out of the $50. What can I do with 35 Rand? Okay, I can get this guy. What's your rate, bro? 5 Rand. What's your rate? 6 Rand. Oh, fire. Come on, jump on the project. Guys, this is what we're doing. It's not about us. And the third. You know, sometimes you even have to share your rate if you're comfortable. Because you know what you are doing. You know what you are sacrificing. Mine is not the end all or the be and end all. No, bro. There are far more important things. But without it,
Zakal.
It's a means to an end. It's a means to an end.
Sure.
It's a vehicle to move from point A to the next point. We all wanted some more than others. But if you could understand why you are here, why you are doing what you're doing, it's easy for you to open up the door to more people to come in. You know, so I don't want it to be monotonous. I don't want it to be mundane because I'm hogging. There are times where you run out, bro. Like now I don't know what to do. I'm just going to go back to what I've done. Maybe this next person like, yo, bro, how about we rock the camera like this? Just track in, you know, that'll give a nice feel like, oh, okay, we'll give the editor options.
The nice thing about life is that you don't always have options. Sometimes when they come, Ziza's buyer, sometimes there's just none, you know, and I feel that's when, you know, in your life, you feel like, okay, Sharp, you are not in control as much as you would like to be. And those moments can be testing, like they can test your patience. They got tester for real. And I've kind of like seen a lot of people get into spaces where they're depressed because now they feel like things aren't going as they have planned. People would give up on their dreams altogether because they're like, now, okay, Sharp, this is not what I envisioned. What is it? Young Tola. And that's when, like, I think a strong getting mental or a strong mindset would need to come into play if you work in any in any profession, particularly. But for you as a filmmaker, when you feel like your mental is getting tested, how do you deal with those kind of situations? And I also like to get a sense of how important is mental health for you, especially being a filmmaker.
What is that?
Mental health.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what mental health is? Are you joking with me?
No, I'm not. Maybe I'm not the target audience for the question. Yeah, I don't know what mental health is. Do you know?
So yeah,
I'm kidding, bro.
Okay, when
No, I know. Maybe let me fuck me in the scholar. But I guess what I'm also trying to say on that very same grade.
Abantu, they leave Jozi, but Cape Town, they forget about mental health.
Man, you realize you move and you realize actually my mind is clear.
Yeah.
There's no such thing.
And you know, when you don't have to deal with things, you forget them. Yeah.
Right. But this is probably the most arrogant answer I would give today, because I can't relate to that chat now. I think you get mentally depressed when you don't have any sense of duty, when you are living a purposeless life, when you don't know the meaning of your life. Those things are gateways to an unhealthy mindset, which is what depression is, for lack of a better way to express it. You become depressed. Usually when you're depressed, you find that you spend a lot of time in bed. Maybe you wake up when the sun is really out, which is around midday. But as soon as you start understanding that you have to create meaning, you have to create whatever the pursuit of excellence is for you. In our last episode, which is online, people can go check it out. We spoke about find something you love. That's what I said on the previous episode. Find something you love and you never work a day in your life. This is an expression that's common. When I go out to work, when I go out to do what I do, I liken it to, you know, when we were kids, we used to play soccer. Yeah. You'd leave the house early, come back late. You probably realize that you're hungry when you come back, but the whole day you were just out there. You were embracing, you were wallowing in that interaction or action that you were part of. When I'm out there, and I usually say this to the people that are close to me or people that are around me, is I never feel like I'm out here to work. I know how it feels like to work. Sure. I've worked at Zara, I've worked at other companies. I have worked. I know how it feels like to look at knock-off time, like, 5 minutes is the longest 5 minutes. I can't wait. I don't have that in my life right now. I can feel my body is exhausted, but it's always the conversation like, okay, I anticipate you to do this because this is what you are supposed to do. But as far as when am I going home, I am not thinking about that. Sure. I'm here to play. It's playing for me. So I don't have that feeling of I'm dealing with moments that are heavy when I'm on the job or when I'm working on a project. And that speaks to how I found something I enjoy doing. And I'm not working a day in my life. Yeah. It's so crazy that is what is happening to me. Because when I get my money, I chuckle, bro. It's like, so I just got paid just to go play. You understand? So is this what I got paid to do? Sometimes I even forget about the money that's coming in because I enjoyed myself so much. I learned so much on set that I am not looking at, my money. Sure. You understand? When it rocks, I don't have notifications on my apps, on my banking apps. I don't have notifications of money going out, money coming in. I just see whenever I'm using money. Yeah. Like, okay, cool. They paid me. I just do what I have to do. If there's a job that I would have to send an invoice for, which it's very unlikely for me to do that because I have an agent, right? Yeah. They take care of all of that for me. It just gets in and it's fun. It's an exciting thing for me. Like, okay, so I got paid to go laugh, enjoy myself, stand up the whole day, and get to know how people are living.
Talk me through the habits that actually help you maintain that level of peace with yourself and kind of like, calmness around situations where you're not very much in control.
It must take some form of dissatisfaction that you must have experienced. I think when I think of that, I think of the conversation of personal development or self-development as a whole thing, right? And to that conversation, it would be the expression of when we don't reach the level of our expectations, we fall to the level of our habits. What are your habits when you don't reach your goals? Because I can imagine not reaching your goal is not a good feeling. Yeah. When you don't have positive habits, what do you do? So you don't reach your goal, the next thing is what? Imbomi, uchwala, puza, uyenza. Do you understand? If your habits are positive habits such as me specifically, because to get to that point, it's one of those things that you have to, one, introspect or take inventory. That's that big thing. You have to evaluate your beliefs. You have to evaluate your place in the world. You have to think of the things that you want. Where are you? What's happening with me? Where am I trying to take this? Why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? So you have to take inventory. You have to introspect. And introspection and, by and large, self-development or personal development it's not group work. You do it in isolation. It's not a pair. No, it's one man, solo job. That's what you have to do. You have to think. And the crazy thing about that is people search for answers outside themselves. You'd wonder why the Bible says, greater is he that is in me than the one that is in the world. So there must be something special about you and finding things inside of you. There's no answer that you're going to find out there that will best describe, that will best position you in a place where you could say, I am not myself. What I mean by that is, if you find something outside of you, it was always in you. Like I said, you just were missing the connection. But in missing the connection, what you need to do is basically the introspection element of it. And you need to then start looking into, once you've done that, I guess the best thing is to admit your character flaws, how you fell short, the positive things about you. And once you do that, it's like being an addict, isn't it? They say you can't be helped if you're in denial. So you have to admit, it's the same thing. You can't receive God if you don't believe you're a sinner, if you don't acknowledge that you're a sinner as well. So those things correlate and they make sense for me. That's why you have to admit to yourself, not to the next person, not to your mom, just to you and you only. And from there, you've identified, you've introspected. Now you are admitting. The best thing is, okay, I know I'm a failure in whatever thing you want to say you are a failure at. What is the next best thing? What is this thing that I'm trying to be or trying to achieve? You could say we are creating an avatar now. You don't like how you look. Maybe that is one of the things that demotivate you, that make you feel like your self-esteem is tanked. You're not feeling good about yourself. That's one thing you have to do. Maybe you don't like how your arm looks, or you don't like how your clothes fit you. Then there's work to be done. So you're creating that person that you want to become. It's almost as if, for lack of a better word, I know imposter has a negative connotation, but you have to be an imposter of sorts, because now you have to work towards this person that you want to become. You've created this person. Right? Now it's you ascending to that. And there's work that needs to be done. And the work that needs to be done taps into the conversation of, what are your habits? Create positive habits. Maybe you don't do your bed when you wake up. Firstly, that's not a good thing, because you can't conquer the world if you can't conquer your bedroom.
Yes, sir.
How? Be
Yes, sir.
be the change you want to see. How? What will I better? Bro, me, I don't trust you, though. You go fight for me. Bro, fight for yourself. Fight for yourself. Do your bed. Clean your space. There's something that happens in your mind when the space is clean. Bro, you think clearer, because things are white walls. You know, those kinds of things. So some of these things are things that we do not know. And then from that point on, you build the habits. Don't like that I'm using filler words. That's the introspection. I don't like that I'm like M. I want to speak proper. I want to kill the filler words. That's room for you to grow, isn't it? I need a book. Because books don't read. You don't read a book and some like
you know.
No, bro, you understand? So there's a reference. You can then start to record yourself speak. You record, you've said something. Can I say this better? You're flexing your brain, your mind. I'm looking into my health. We spoke about your software and your hardware being related. They work closely together. Your mind and your body. So a lot of the times our body is a hindrance to how we could get the best out of our minds. That in that way we fall short of the things that we want to achieve. So for me, when I don't reach my expectations, it's the habits. I have to feel good about myself, which is why I have to wake up in the morning, do the things that I have to do. I have to attend to my morning routine. I have to go do this, that, and the third. so I can feel good about myself. I need to feel good about myself, because if I don't feel good about myself, it means I can't approach that girl. It means I can't approach that person who has the next opportunity because I'm not confident. So
I can't express myself as my best version in that
how?
interview.
We're talking about illiterate people. You have to, bro, there's nothing as sad as you not being able to express yourself. That is sad, because it means you can't get things you want, because you can't express yourself. You can't say, I want this, because you can't express yourself. So how are you doing yourself a good thing? That's a disservice, bro, that you are living under a shadow of something that you want, but you're incapable of articulating. I don't want to be that person, firstly. Secondly, I don't want my kids to have that kind of a father. I don't want my wife to have that kind of a husband. I don't think the community would benefit from someone who's like that. And I want to be a positive force in the world.
Hectic, man. But Nyazi, now technology is kind of like making things simple for people. Yeah, those who can write, ChatGPT can write for you. If you can't speak, there's apps that can speak for you. So do you still think you need to cultivate those qualities about you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, this is a build-up to the next question. You don't have to answer that.
Because, I'm sure you've asked the question. What is the question?
So
Maybe I can make it one thing.
Sure. The question actually is, as technology and AI is advancing, right? There's a lot of professions where now it has taken it by storm and things are kind of like being done through AI. Is that like the case in the film space? And if so, have you for yourself started embracing some of the AI tools to simplify how you work, or even to enhance how you work?
I cultivate those qualities because as much as AI is what it is, it cannot replace the human qualities. AI takes from what is out there, at least ChatGPT. It does not create anything from thin air. I've used it so many times to understand, so much so that I've seen a trend in the information that it gives me, that I've seen this. So you're basically out there scouring everything, and then you try to do whatever you do, process, and then you give it to me. I don't know if maybe that's even the best. Is that even the best thing that you could give me? As far as the AI apps, it's an interesting thing when we look at technology. Technology is proxy for evolution and change. There isn't anything that becomes without change. An ice block has to go through a process. For water to come to us, it has to go through a process. For you to clean up, you have to go through a process. For bread to be made, it has to go through a process. Tell me something that does not go through the process of change. So change is inevitable. Change is imminent. If you don't become part of it, you get left behind. And that's not the kind of change that you want. You want to embrace whatever technology comes, whatever they say this is what the next trend is, because it's one of those things that you cannot control, isn't it? If you want to be a reliable music warehouse, where you stick on music, people are going piracy, they're going digital. You don't want to be a musiker, where they were about the music. You understand? But they integrate, people are playing games, let's sell games. People like music, let's get speakers. You have to, in a way, you have to reinvent yourself, for lack of a better way to express it. So embracing is part of growing positively. To not embrace is to rob yourself of advancement in anything that you want to do, is to rob yourself of growth, personal growth, most specifically. The apps, I've embraced apps in the space. I've seen shortcuts for films through AI. They'll have directors that don't like to use CGI, which is an extension of AI. But you never want to get to a place where you are used to bathing in a bathtub, and when things are dire, you can't use a Vascom.
For sure.
Do you understand? You want to start with the Vascom. For functionality. A bathtub is not for functionality, bro. That's luxury. Do you understand? So if you don't work on the basis, you don't want to go on to ChatGPT for it to write a script for you when you don't know how to write a script. How do you know that's right? How do you know what to tweak? You want to know the things from the ground up. You want to build things from the ground up. So no matter how much change will will do. There's still work that needs to be done. AI is there to help us. But for some reason, then we end up relying on things. Think of our maps now, our apps. This is meant to help you. But now people can't even operate. They can't go move from property to property. If there's no data, life is dead, bro.
I remember I used one route, spanning for like 2 months. Whether there was traffic or no traffic, if I didn't have data, that was the only route I would take. Only one, my dog.
Imagine.
Yeah.
What happens when you're in a situation, God forbid, people want to do things to you. You know one route. They know. You must confuse your enemy, bro.
For sure.
You must confuse your enemy. Sure. Use different routes.
Yeah, but imagine.
There's signages.
For sure.
Do you understand? Yes, but now, because these things are the things that we now rely on, they've completely taken us out of our element. There's a movie called, maybe in closing this answer, called Transcendence.
Sure.
In the beginning, it says technology, the internet, I think they use the internet more specific. The internet was meant to make the world a smaller place. But now the world is smaller without it. Do you understand? So it's crazy that we are not making or experiencing things as they should, that they should help us. Not that without them, we can't even move. That's not a good place to be in. So I have apps on my phone that I have to use for that, but I don't want to rely on that. I don't want to do that. The other time I was driving back from a job, and talk about apps. I think my phone died or something malfunctioned, and I felt like I was lost. But I had to think about it. Like, how are you lost? The signages. You have an idea of where you're going. Sure. How about you rock that? Yeah, and then I started looking, like, okay, cool, off ramp here. All right, cool. That's me. This. Okay, cool. That's me.
Yeah, until you see something you recognize.
You recognize, bro. Because it's saying Cape Town. Cape Town. Sure. Milnerton.
I didn't tell.
Do you understand?
The thing is, we become so reliant on technology that we don't want to use our brains anymore. And we're not aware of it, but we just don't want to use our brains anymore for anything.
You understand?
Yeah. King Venture, before I say Vala. I'd like you to actually talk us through the projects that you are currently working on. And well, obviously, maybe just also touch on the ones that you've been super excited to have been a part of. And also, what is it that, we can look forward to from your span?
I think that is elusive. What do I mean by that? I think in the long run, none of that matters. Yeah. For me, the project that I'm working on, I understand how you asked the question, but I think it's important for me to say this. And I've touched on it a little bit earlier on. Yeah. I want to be an honorable man in the community. I want to be a caring brother. I want to be a loving husband. I want to be a superhero to my kids. And I want to be a faithful servant. All these other things, they just a means to an end. I don't think I would want to mean more to the people around me than to the creative space altogether. And one thing that I've realized even coming back is I've missed out on so many moments pursuing the bag. I've missed out on birthdays. And at the time I made sense of it, I justified it in my head. But I don't even remember those days. Do you understand? I remember Christmas. I came home for Christmas. It was the first Christmas I've attended, Christmas lunch I've attended in 4 or 5 years because I've been chasing that bag. There are kids in the family now. I'm an elder in a sense. I see how they look up to me. I see how the conversations we have, they're so lively. That deposits joy in my heart. And those are things that I think at the end, when all is said and done, people will remember you for how you made them feel. Sure. There are things that you thought meant something, they don't mean anything. So I really want for people to milk that from me. And that's what I'm working towards. That we could speak about it, but there's definitely no benefit for me to that. I can tell you what project I'm working on. I can tell you I've spoken about the proud moments. I worked on which was my first commercial gig like that. And that came through the funneling of opportunities to the people that I know. But it's just a moment. It's a moment in time, and that's it. So that I'm using it to get me to where I want to get. But now that I have this information, that matters less to me. I want to say no to a job because there's a family event. I want to say no to something because there's a birthday happening. I won't get to relive those moments. Money will come and go. Money is fickle. It's something, it's an illusion. It's a spirit. You understand?
It's transient.
You said it better. I mean, you got the words, right? So, yeah, and in closing, the Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth shall speak. So what does your heart harbor? It needs to harbor virtue. It needs to harbor good things. You need to, that's why it also says, guard your heart, because through it flows life. It's cold out there. That's why they say the top is cold, right? Because you make it so, and you don't take the people that have or create meaning for you or would make that moment meaningful. They don't know what I'm doing, so there's no point. So I want to be there more. Then that's what
For sure. Blessed, man.
Thank you.
King Vega, there's this thing that we do on TMC.
Yeah,
after
you
the
and the things that you do in TMC.
After every episode, they want to give you an opportunity to ask the host one question. Yeah, just
The
one.
host, one question.
Yeah.
Oh snap! Why wasn't that a question that
You are the
I
host
can?
now. Yeah, it's a surprise. Yeah.
You want it to be deep.
Hey, bro, the host one question. Any question.
Yeah.
Well, any question will go sideways for me. So I'm really trying to bring it back. This is I'm asking this because it's something I took up this year.
Sure.
I was writing lessons for every month. What has been the most important lesson for you as we close off 2023?
The most important lesson for me, I mean, this is not something that I don't like I have to think about because it's kind of like there at the back of my mind, and I carry it with me every day when I wake up. I have to actually remind myself, we have these pillars of life. There are 5. It is so unfortunate that I forget one, right? And it's career, it's health, it's family, which also includes friends, and it's also spirit, right? We spoke about this earlier. But I think the most important thing that I have learned is that they all depend on each other for a fulfilling life, right? So your career depends on you being in good health. You being in good health also depends on your career being okay. And also spiritually, you need to be grounded in things that make you like a virtuous person to be with, to be around, right? And family, you also touched very much on that. We would see like family is very important. We so much want to make family a part of our, we want to make work everything, so much so that we try to fit life into work, but it actually should be the other way around. We need to find ways to fit work into life, right? And that's when you are able to make space for all the other things, like going to gym, meditating, if that's how you connect, to your higher spirit, making sure you do what is expected of you as Panini at the level it's expected, making sure you check up on your family, these are the things that I have learned for me this year, and I think it's a foundation for the year that we're going into next. Yeah.
That's fire, bro. I think there's something to take for people. There's something to take for people. You guys have been doing good, right? Yeah. So that's
think
dope. Like King Vega.
That's dope.
Isn't it love the 5th pillar?
I think it's
Wouldn't that fall under spirit?
no, it falls under family.
Okay.
Relationships.
Yeah.
Love and relationships falls under family.
I'm not sure. I actually need to check.
I think
Again, yeah.
How do you do this? So my peeps. I'm kidding. Yeah, please do. I will not please. Just subscribe, man. I think there's a lot more you get from these kinds of interactions. I think sometimes people don't connect because they don't find people to relate to. And this platform has been that platform. It brings people that you can relate to, people that have experienced different things in life in general. I mean, you could also speak to me about that whole conversation of things being a thing that we experience, and now I have to come and relay. So, do you need the subscription?
Yes, sir.
That's farting. Someone just farted. It means it's time to go. But yeah, subscribe and then keep your little on the things. There's more. There's definitely more. I've seen these guys work their asses off. I've seen them refine processes. I was surprised to get an email. That's how professional they are. And this is something that you don't get anyway. These are the type of things that people pay for, pay to be organized. And they're not getting paid to be organized. So show some love.
Yes, sir.